next part, right? So I was busy, and I'm still busy interpreting it. I was explaining those two men where the dream commenced at, right? Those two guys that were fighting over me. But first, the dream started with me being in the vehicle of the one guy. I spoke about how a car, if you are in the backseat of it in a dream, often it speaks about witchcraft because it is a directing of a person's life, charting the course of their life apart from their approval. I wanted to go home in that dream. That guy was supposed to take me home, but instead he took me to Alex, and that was very far from home, in a neighborhood as well that I didn't feel safe in, and it was the same context that had outworked itself back in the day. But back in the day, I never ended up in Alex. In this dream, I was in Alex. So this dude took a detour, and I was in Alex. So that was witchcraft. Not only was the Lord showing me witchcraft, but God was showing me. I told you guys that the guys were young in the dream, even though making life they're older. That was the Lord showing me there was a curse over the nation, and I've already spoken about this, where men are not quite men. They aren't doing what men are supposed to do. What are men supposed to do? They are heads, they're leaders, they are protectors, and they are providers. They have been given authority by God to do that on the earth. They are of dominion above even us as women. They lead us, we lead with them all of creation. We are their helper suitables. That's just the order that God created us all to be operating in very naturally. But men, because they are boyish, have converted women into somewhat of a Helen of Troy. They're always fighting over women, and like Oedipus's mom, where big fat chunky grown women are basically made to be with men that are kind of like still like boys. Even if chronologically the men are older, just the maturity level is so low, and there is no overarching valor in them or overarching sense of dignity in them that has a thorough understanding as to how to treat women. Like, a woman must be cherished, a woman must also be guarded, with kid gloves. You have to be gentle because she is frailer than men. Just take it. Feminists, I don't care what you have to say with your butch constitution. Bottom line is, we are the fairer sex, and we need to be handled a lot more carefully and a lot more gently than you can ever deal with men. They don't have that understanding in them, but that is also largely because women have also become very masculinized, so it's made it kind of hard for men to walk in their role. But the whole dream started with these two guys, and it just basically demised the whole dream going forward. So essentially, the root cause of South Africa's issues is manhoodlessness. Just a lack of true biblical manhood is running this country into the ground. They are fighting over things that are unnecessary. So I told you guys that in this dream, these two wanted something out of me. There is also an epidemic on the ground of witchcraft where guys are roofing women spiritually. I like to call it roofies because if you have not approved, it's like a drug that has been put in your drink. Men no longer pursue women in the good old-fashioned way where they come up to you, they like you, they do all different kinds of exercises to see what they can do to flex in front of you to impress you, and then maybe you might just find them impressive, and so you agree. No longer are they doing things the natural way. The way that they're doing them now is they go to a sangoma, they ask for a love kiss, they put that dust on a woman's face, cause her to be severely drunk with adoration or lust or whatever it is, and then only they go in for the kill. They are deliberately trying to chart the course of women's lives, and when they do offer women help, it is always with some kind of a string attached. There is no true chivalry left anymore, but they always approach the situation under the guise of, I'm only here to help you. I see you're struggling, I just want to help you. I see you're struggling, I just want to help you. But at the back of their minds, they understand that they have some other ulterior motive under wraps. And if you don't want to be with him and you accept his help based on the fact that he said, I don't want anything in return, he on that day knows that it is possible that you might get out of that without giving him anything in return. So in order to try and bridge that gap, to force it, they use witchcraft. They go to women, offer help. I don't want to see a woman suffering, but as soon as they understand that this woman doesn't naturally have a crush on them, so she's unlikely going to abide by his pursuit, and he's going to end up this dude that essentially has wasted resources on a woman that will never give him anything back in return, they then use witchcraft to get out of her what they want anyway. They use witchcraft. So there's a lot of bewitching of women on the ground, a lot of making drunk of females that feel like men are finally stepping up to the plate and are walking in a chivalry, but then they find themselves all of a sudden overwhelmed by feelings of lust or mesmerized by whatever over a man that they did not want to be with initially, but now they're suddenly interested in. So there's a lot of use of witchcraft to make women be with men. That's why I was in the backseat of this guy's car. It was God showing me the stealthy infiltration strategy going on that is very satanic on the ground, where our men are no longer trusting of themselves and their game enough, Hoshela Basadi, to ask women out properly, and they also offer chivalrous deeds or acts to women, however very unchivalrously so, where at the back of their minds they know what they want and they are gunning to get it, and if they don't get it they become hostile and they use witchcraft to get it. They bewitch women and they rarely ever come in the name of true peace, true retribution, true restoration, true help. They always have something at the back of their mind. They don't just help women, and that is killing the fabric of our society and also the strength of our men. Right? They then, once the one dude realized, because he drove me, he meandered me around all different kinds of places, did not take me home, landed me rather in his neighborhood, okay? When he realized that despite being in his neighborhood, I still don't want to be there, and I still am not going to give him what he wants, he then became hostile towards me. It's literally, I have experienced it, where guys first start out helping me out, and as soon as they realize I'm not going to do anything for them, I'm not going to dance for them, I'm not going to be their girlfriend, nothing, they get hostile. The same dude who said, I want nothing in return. They use witchcraft, but because I'm Christian, I'm saved, I'm born again, it bounces off. It doesn't work. And when they realize that their sorcery is not working, it's not making me like them, they become even more hostile. That thing happened in the dream. That's not just something that's happened to me. It is a problem in South Africa, period. When men bewitch women, when witchcraft does not work, they become hostile. So the same guy that was helping you, that was fresh, that was kind, all of a sudden gets mean. Women can relate. You can relate to that one colleague, that one dude in your neighborhood, that one neighbor downstairs that started out helping you, everything you were trying to do. He's there like a bear, he helps you change tires, and then one day all of a sudden he gets aloof. And you're like, but my goodness, whatever happened to the kind neighbor that is into walking my dogs on my behalf some nights? His witchcraft bounced. It didn't work. Some people have some protection as well from sorcery despite not being Christians, and when they don't get what they want out of a woman, they change like on them like that overnight, displaying what they always wanted all along. They feel like, I'm wasting my time, I'm not going to waste my resources. And because of how competitive they are with each other over women, the one dude that suddenly appeared in the back seat with me as well in the car, he was with me as well in the backseat of the car. What that speaks of is these men are so jealous and so fruitless in their jealousy that they are literally domino effect tipping everybody in the country because of their jealousy. They say, I want you, Karabo, and the moment you say no, they then in their gender-based violence mindset are like, if I can't have you, no one can. So that guy that was in the backseat, in the sense that he was also being driven by this guy, sorcery that they put on the woman to block her from ever getting married, ever marrying, or ever meeting the right guy, ever doing anything like ideal or proper in a romance, do you understand, automatically puts any other man that would want to pursue this woman in a spell, because that's how witchcraft operates. Like, if you have got an ex-girlfriend or a woman that is in your office that you are pursuing that is not interested in being with you, and then you cast a spell on her to block her from ever getting married, spreading her wings and preparing to fly and branching out, if you do witchcraft of that nature, anybody that comes in to try and pursue her, any guy that from a distance likes her, is trying to see if he can maybe talk to her, will the moment he enters into your ecosystem, that radius that is emanating with a whole bunch of that other guy's sorcery, he will start to act in the way that his sorcery has predicted. And if at all this guy's not covered by himself this dude tries to pursue a bewitched woman, or a woman that a guy has put a radius of sorcery in, and he does not have the Holy Spirit able to conquer the darkness of being in this radius, the moment he enters into her ecosystem, he predictably hurts the woman. He predictably acts a fool. He predictably responds in a way that abides by the sorcery of his friend, or of not this lady. So this dude found himself in the backseat of the car. He suddenly appeared, and he was not in the passenger seat, he was in the backseat being driven with me. So he also fell under a spell by collateral, and he tried to pursue me, and as soon as he tried to pursue me, him and this other guy were at war. They were fighting for me. But as soon as they both realized that none of them are going to win me, they froze. What that means is that, first of all, men are blocking other men from pursuing their ex-girlfriends, their ex, like they love interest in the office that are not interested in them. They are actively blocking these women from ever being pursued by other men, keeping them single for the longest amount of time ever, which is largely sorcery in this country. I did speak about it. It's largely in the black community. So there are a whole bunch of viable, beautiful, gorgeous black women that are getting to the age of 40, 45, 35, unmarried when they're 23, at 25, at 27, because of their ex-boyfriends and other random freaks in the office that were like, I like Karabo, she doesn't like me back, she's never going to be happy in marriage. And it's ubiquitously flying around in the room. And every guy that wants to holler at you, that looks at you with favor, the moment he starts to talk to you, witchcraft starts to operate and he treats you like trash. That's what's happening in the country. It's a cesspool. And their war war with each other is because of the fact that there is witchcraft operating, preventing the guy that wants to pursue you from doing it in his own faculties, alle reasonable, alle rational, to see if he can't win the girl. And his witchcraft toggles him, it fights him. But this guy, in and of himself, upon finding out, because there is a general issue with men in the country, upon realizing that it's worthless to fight the other guy because Karabo is still not interested in him, they then both freeze, and Karabo is then stranded, unable to go anywhere, because here's this dude that says, I'll take her home. Then they freeze, and now no one is here to take me home. So essentially, men end up immobile. They end up doing nothing. They fight over women, they put a whole bunch of witchcraft, and then they become complacent, yes, like dormant. They just sit while the country gets sent to dogs, while women languish, while damsels in distress stay in distress, while women and children suffer, while men just sit there. That's what that meant. The Lord showed me that their involvement in the occult and their fighting for Helen of Joy causes them to eventually become these like dormant randos that are nothing about what's going on in the ground. Hence the country is being run by Jezebel, a woman that is essentially the power of a nation in a matriarchal structure, because the patriarchy has been put in a comatose, dystropic position. Next part.